right, welcome back. Thank you so much for staying with us. You're watching Morning Cafe, and right about now, you know, International Women's Day is around the corner this coming Saturday, and we want to continue this conversation that we had on Monday, this time with Catherine Obuino, Marketing and Customer Service Director at HACO, on empowering women, shaping the future. Just what are they doing to empower women and to shape the future of women ahead, of course, of International Women's Day? Now, there's something interesting for you here, ladies. We have gift hampers here in studio, as you can see, in partnership with TV47, Two Rivers, HACO, Ashanti Q. Catherine will be telling us all about that in a few. Lakini, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm very good.
You
How
look
are
amazing.
You? Thank you.
You know, I love to talk to ladies. All right. Tell us all about this gift hamper, first of all, as we start this conversation.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. I think we've been partnering, we've been having the conversation, how do we celebrate women? HACO is a fast-moving consumer goods company. We focus on personal care products, that's skin and hair, as well as home care products. However, for this International Women's Day, we want to celebrate women with one of our key product lines, that is Ashanti Q. Ashanti Q is a natural hair care product. And I think it is key because what we are celebrating with the women is their ability to be themselves. You know, oftentimes, I mean, when I look at you and I look at myself, we would not have shown up on studio in lines or in braids, you know. There was a certain stereotype of what you need to show up looking like, you know, informal, so to speak, settings. And so we have this amazing hair care product that allows you to lay your edges, do your curls, and just kinky curls, you know. So you can do your Afro puff, you can do your Bantu knots. And that's really a product that allows you not to necessarily have to do a heat process. So you just wake up, shampoo your hair. It's a detangler. So you know how African hair has that ability to, that 4C to kink up. So yeah, you know, it's got that detangling property, so it makes it a lot easier, very manageable. And then, you know, you just dry it and you can set it style to go. And that's really what that is all about. But HACO as a business then would celebrate women and celebrate with women, because beauty is a big component of our business, would be something that our target audience is all about. You know, women contribute largely to our business, and we are partnering with them as our consumers. We are partnering with them within the employee base, as well as even the people we source from. So I would say that's why women are very relevant to us, so to speak.
So what's HACO in full exactly? I can see your tagline is the home of quality, but if somebody wants to know what the H, the A, the C, and the O is about, what is it about? You
know, actually, it's not an acronym. HACO is a name.
HACO is the name.
HACO is the name. I always get that. That is so interesting. HACO is the name. It's actually a legacy business. It started out more than 40 years ago now. So it started out with Dr. Chris Kirubi and has grown, is now in second generation leadership through his daughter, Marianne Musangi. And so again, we're celebrating women in leadership and women in manufacturing. So that's really what HACO is all about, bringing affordable home care and skin care and hair care products to the African market. So we focus on African business. We focus on products that are great for African skin, African hair, because we're Africans. So that's what we understand.
Africa is our business.
Africa is our business. And our market space is Africa, the continent.
So Catherine, what does International Women's Day mean to you?
I think International Women's Day is an opportunity to celebrate women, first and foremost. A lot of things that they have done, their contribution, their achievements, but I would also say it's also a time to reflect and say, having come this far, have we really made it? Or do we have that much farther to go? I think I would say, if I reflect on it, we've made positive progress. But we need to recommit, perhaps, say, where have we not maybe moved as fast? And I would look at it twofold. We can look at it as HACO as a business, and I think we've made good gains as a business. When we look at being in manufacturing, we, sorry, my voice is, it's that season, the heat and the dust has not really worked well for me. So what happens is that HACO as a business today, it has like a 60-40 ratio, men to women being 40%. And that is not where you would say maybe at 50-50, but is actually above where industry norm is and the general market. So we do have a deliberate effort to get more women into the workplace. I would say, as Catherine, what does it mean? I think for me, now, as they say, as you get into leadership, what does it mean for me as I look back? My big question is, am I intentional enough in uplifting women? And I realize that uplifting women does not mean that you necessarily have to hire a woman onto your team. It also means, are you encouraging? Are you advising? Are you guiding? Are you giving that example that somebody feels, oh, she feels she can do it, so why not me, you know? And that's really the big thing this year for me. I'd say it's asking ourselves, and even as they say, accelerate action. I'm then asking myself, am I even in action, or are you just a passive observer? That's the big question. Yes.
I love that you've also touched on the theme this year, of course, which is Accelerate Action 2025. And I just want to know, does it resonate in any way with the challenges that women are facing currently, or maybe let's say the progress that we're trying to make in terms of empowering the woman? Accelerate action, are we really in action in terms of just ensuring women's rights are well ensured?
I think we are, to be really honest. Let's look at it this way. Women, you know, to make a change in the area we're talking about is a generational change. And we'd say probably our mothers had the first generation change. They went to school at a time when women perhaps were denied the opportunity to go to school. In our generation, we had the opportunity to get education. So in that space, I would say education barriers have been broken by and large. Perhaps in our generation, it was how far can you go in education? In the next generation, the third generation behind us, that is the youth now, I think that barrier has completely been broken. Every woman has an opportunity to go to, it has an opportunity for education to whatever level they would choose. And it's not eyebrow raising or why would you think you would have to get to that level? And so I think in terms of strides made in that area, really great. And then in terms of global awareness, you know, when you talk about gender equality now, it's no longer a first world, third world phenomenon. It's a global phenomenon. So has action and progress been made? Most definitely. Do we have to accelerate? Yes. Why? Because we still have things like gender-based violence. We still have gender-based pay variation in some areas. So there are pockets. And then there's unfortunately also the reality of things like unconscious bias. Because we've done it for so long. So even as the generations morph, that hasn't died completely. So we still have some way to go, but great gains made. But if we're going to accelerate, then maybe it's to pick out where can we really shift the dial. But in terms of progress, I think we've got to hand it to ourselves. It's because some of these things you can't really, it's not a switch of a button. I say there's a difference between switch of a button and shifting a dial. And a dial sometimes can be a tough one. And I think we're on the tough dial, but good shift nonetheless. Yes.
Now, Kathy, who do you think really should we bringing on board to ensure that this theme this year, Accelerate Action, is lived? Because when we talk about women right defenders, we have a lot of groups doing so much for the women, but we still see a lot of gaps. You've talked about gender-based violence, we see cases of femicide. Who now should we bringing on board just to ensure that, because the Constitution talks about protecting the woman, but now what should be done exactly? I
think first and foremost, it always starts on a personal level. No change will start at necessarily a global level. It first starts at a unit level, SI unit level, where you say, do women even appreciate they have that right? Because remember, and I've seen cases where, yes, the group is there, they're ready to fight for you, they're ready to go to court, but you as a woman are not willing to take that bold step and say, I am going to be the accuser. I am going to say, I have a problem, right? So at that point, then you have a system that can back you, but you're not willing to leverage the system that can back you. It could be fear, it could be lack of knowledge, and I think what we then need is women who've been able to get past that fear and leverage the systems and processes should now help mobilize the system. Let me give you an example, the one of education. You understand that for education to change generation after generation, it took a mother in a home who said, my daughters will go to school. Or it took a father to say, my daughters will go to school. It didn't take, yes, the government can say, and today we do see, the government will say, we've got free education. Why is your child at home? Why aren't they going to school? But where does the pressure come from? It comes from the society. Probably there'll be somebody who will go to the chief and say, we have children in that home who are not going to school and we don't understand why. And then maybe then the machinery will act. So I think we also have to appreciate that a machinery is only as good as the individuals within the society leveraging the machinery. Yes, that's what I would say.
Personal initiatives.
Personal initiatives. And that's why I said, I'm asking self, how intentional are you, Catherine? Yes, because maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm hoping that I'll get carried along. But imagine, and why I say individual is because all these systems then, imagine the domino effect of all those dots joining to deliver the impact that they can deliver.
Yes. When we talk about education, you know, I see you're passionate about education. You're saying you've made strides, but would you say the same about women in leadership, politics? We still have the conversation about the 2/3 gender rule where women feel we're not included as we should. So would you say that in the political sector we are making progress as we should?
I think we have made progress. We don't want to dismiss the progress made, definitely. And I mean, if we look at the political scenario, we have heads of government, we have county government leaders, and that's mini fasts, and they went up against men. I think the thing I always say is this, and in education, like you've rightly put it, we've made gains, but remember, we've also not fully seen the gains in areas like STEM, that's science, technology, engineering, and mathematics for women. And what it might require now is for women to step up to the challenge. It's actually the reality that sometimes it's not that we are not being included, sometimes we're not stepping up to be counted. Because if you want to be part of a 2/3 majority, sometimes you do have to apply for the voters to come and say yes or no. And then that becomes the first barrier we need to break. The voter wondering, a lady, should I really, batch you on the ballot to begin with? And I think that's going to be very important. And I say that because even when you talk about women in leadership within corporate, forget even leadership, even just general employment, there are roles or sections of maybe industry that we find. You put out applications and there's not a single female candidate who applies. Now you can put in a ratio that you want to achieve, but the women also need to apply because you also want to provide an opportunity that somebody is interested in. Maybe the other area perhaps we could help accelerate that sometimes is mentorship opportunities, because sometimes it's not that people don't have the capability, they just don't feel, can I really step up? Sometimes it's training, just simple training that then helps them understand how do I put theory into action, because maybe that's where they are struggling. We have a mentorship program we do at HACO, and what we are now doing, it's actually an industrial attachment program with Kiambu National Polytechnic, and it's in industrial mechatronics. It's a big word, but really, there was a lady in this last cohort, there's a lady who's been in there for the 3-year program, And once she's done with the program, she will be eligible to be a maintenance technician. That's awesome. But she had to apply to go to college and do industrial mechatronics. If the women don't apply, it becomes really very hard for inclusion. And then we also then get that rap where the men feel like, but you didn't apply. But you've been brought in. You know, so favoritism. We want fairness. We can do as well. Yes.
And you know, when we talk about that, there's also a bias. You know, a lot of bullying for women in leadership. You know, you're either too aggressive or you're either too soft. You know, how can we now dismantle that kind of bias? Because now, you see, you want to take up space. You have this space. You're taking over it. But now you're being bullied, sometimes even out of it.
Very true, very true. And we've seen it. And it's not stated that it's bullying, but for all intents and purposes, sometimes you're like, is this really fair? You know? But one of the things, and I'll say, has been a personal experience and a personal, maybe, affirmation I had to do for self is ask myself, who am I going to be? Do I need to be aggressive, quote unquote, if you call it, to be able to be considered a leader? But I think everybody has got to lead in their own style. You have to be who you are. If you're soft-spoken, you've met people who are soft-spoken, but when they deliver their statement, it is tough. It is very punchy. This is what is required. So I have a statement. It's a personal statement. I say, I want to be the best woman I can be and not the second-rate man. Right? I just have to be the best woman I can be. Because when I try to be like a man, probably will not be. And I probably then will be that quasi something that I am trying to be. So just be yourself. And I think unapologetically you will be able to deliver because you have something to offer. Everybody does. So Kathy, maybe any advice that you may have for women aspiring to take up leadership positions? You know, the registrar of political parties that is under you too, she once told me that if someone tells you as a lady that the shoes that you're now walking into are big enough, tell that person that you're coming with your own shoes. You know, you have to carry your own shoes. So what advice would you have for women aspiring to take up leadership positions? I think the first thing you have to beat before the entire world is your own inner self-doubt. Because if you don't beat that, you know, it's a long road. You have to keep plowing. So if you don't remind yourself why I'm here and I can do this and this is my vision, then what you get carried away with is what everybody else's opinion is of you or what they think you can do. And I think that's really it. And then surround yourself with people who can inspire you, who have either gone before you or just simply can celebrate and champion your effort, you know, keep championing you to move on. But I honestly believe that most people, into everything that we do, you break ground the first time and you run, you know. So just get in and run. It's that simple. Believe in yourself first before anything else.
So Kathy, as we close, maybe you could tell us where we can find Ashanti, Hako, not Ashanti, I mean Hako, and just what you're doing. You said this Saturday you are celebrating women, you're giving us products there, but how exactly are you looking to empower the women this Saturday?
So maybe, and I think you asked me this offline, how we empowering women as ACO. I think I would say, like I've said, internally, we are empowering women by giving them opportunities, equal opportunity employment. And I trust that when we put out those ads, then people will put up their hands and say, I'm applying for this job. Our research and development manager is a lady. And that means that it's a woman seated at the table formulating products for beauty, inspired by female intuition. But beyond that, she's also highly qualified, right? So she's adding value. But we also have, like I've talked about, the student programs that we have, both with vocational training institutes like KINAP, but also the universities. And then we've got, for the products, for instance, I talked about Ashanti. We have a sourcing program for our natural oils, because all these products are powered by natural African oils. And those we source locally and regionally. Like I said, Africa is our base. From preferably SME agribusinesses that are providing support to women. Many of them women-led. And so then you have that all those women then are able to eke out a living and have economic benefit for themselves. But then beyond that, then we've got this Ashanti product. So for this Saturday, we will be at Two Rivers with TV47 celebrating women with this product, Ashanti Q. I was told, she told me, I'm only seeing the logo. So what does the product look like? So that's what a bottle would look like, and a jar, basically. So just to give an indication, that is what the product would look like. The product is available, widely available, at, let me say, at Two Rivers. It will be at Carrefour, but it will also be in the beauty stores. But what we are celebrating, like I said, is allowing women to be themselves naturally, right? So they can rock up an Afro puff and feel, you know, like the lady on the screen. You can rock up an Afro puff and look good and feel confident in yourself. So we say we are empowering women to not feel like they're less than good enough because they are themselves. Because that's what you're really saying. If you can't comb out your own hair and show up, yes, and be counted. And so we'll have activations on the day. We'll be on the ground and hoping we'll have demos, we'll have free product utilization, and one can try it out and then make an opinion for themselves.
All right. So maybe I can just tell them how they can participate in this. Just submit a short clip for a chance to walk away with giveaways, courtesy of course, TV47 and Ashanti Q. Hako is also here. And just post it on our digital platforms using the hashtag TV47 Ladies First, and let the world know why whoever you're celebrating, the woman you're celebrating, is amazing. Thank you so much, Catherine. Happy International Women's Day. I know I won't see you on Saturday, maybe. Lakini enjoy. We hope that you feel celebrated enough. And thank you so much for making time for us to have this conversation.
Thank you, too, for hosting me. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, that brings us to the end of this particular conversation. Thank you so much for watching. We take a very short break. Stay with Morning Cafe.